All right, so the question is, do red light cameras actually save lives, or are they actually more of a revenue grab for someone? And who might that be if they are? So let's just kind of evaluate this whole situation with red light cameras and just kind of talk about it a little bit. And I'd like to see your comments and what you guys think about it on your own. But let me tell you about what I found out is that really the only way, in my opinion, that a red light camera could actually save a life is if it dropped a safety net across the intersection and stopped cars from actually going into the intersection when the light is red. And so what I found out is that the red light camera companies actually how it works. So if you didn't know, the red light camera companies actually get a percentage of the revenue created by the red light cameras. That's why the tickets are so expensive. And what they do with that revenue, I can't really say for sure, but I'm kind of suspicious of whether there is some lobbying going on and maybe possibly some money being put into campaign spending or whatever for candidates that they are approving these things. Because really, in all my honest opinion, I really don't think it's possible for them to actually do what they say they do, which is save lives. So let's talk about it again. The red light camera, in order for it to do that, really would have to stop the people from going to the intersection, and they don't do that, obviously. What they do is, if you're a half a second or a second into the intersection or whatever, is it takes a picture of your car and sends you a ticket in the mail, and does a little video, and then a person ties up an officer. There's an officer inside a room that watches these videos and goes, oh, that one's a legit, red light runner, whatever, and sends you a ticket in the mail. So, which I think they could use that resource, that officer could be used for something else when there's actually other crimes that could be more dangerous. And statistically, what they say is you can almost manipulate anything statistically. But what they say statistically is that the red light camera intersections have less death-related accidents. Now, how that's manipulated statistically, I don't know. But I'm just going to give you an example. It's possible that they say inside the intersection, less accidents happen. But if you look at a wider radius outside the intersection, I've heard of a lot of people braking really hard and getting rear-ended outside of an intersection, and I'm sure that those are not counted. I also know of a person who was I read about a person who was riding a motorcycle who was braking for the red light camera who got rear-ended and killed. So, and it didn't happen in the intersection, it happened just outside the intersection. So keep that in mind when you think about this. So the theory of them is that people need to be taught not to run a red light. Now, I want you to think about this for yourself, and I think about this for me, but I think most of us know that running a red light is seriously very, very dangerous, and we all know that if we run a red light, we're putting our lives in our hands. And I think that's just, we don't need to be conditioned to know that. When do red light related accidents cause a serious injury or death? Usually not a half a second past the time the light was red. In fact, that can be corrected very easily if your city or county that you live in just simply puts a 1 to 2 second delay between when your light goes red, the other light turns green. That solves that problem pretty quickly. And if you're thinking that that's a good solution, then you might want to talk to your local. What I'm going to suggest is that if you have red light cameras in your city, that you need to start getting on the email right now and start going to your congressman, or not your congressman, but your city council, and say to them, hey, you know what? I'm not going to elect you. I'm not going to vote for you unless you do something about getting rid of these red light cameras. Because typically how they work is the percentage of the money goes to the red light camera company. A percentage of the money goes to, in California, it goes actually to the state of California. It doesn't even go to your city. It actually is counterproductive for revenue for your city. So it actually ends up taking revenue from people and giving it to red light camera companies who are probably, you tell me what they're doing with the money. Do you think maybe they're, lobbying these people? It's just something to think about. Or, they're taking the money and doing something else with it. I really don't know what's happening with the money. I'm not chasing the money down. I just don't think that they actually are productive. They don't think they actually work. And I think they should be removed. In fact, in my city, they were removed. And that happened just like that. A lot of us started sending to our city council letters saying, hey, we don't want these things. Please get rid of them. And they started looking into it. They found out they were at a revenue negative, and they found out that it was costing us money. Then they figured out that, people don't need to be conditioned to know not to run a red light. And so the answer, the other thing is so people go, well, if you're a half a second past the light, how many death-related accidents do you think are from that? It's got to be just like nil, right? It's when the light is really, really, really red, and it's been red for a long time, and somebody runs the red light. Now, do you think you can condition somebody not to do that? It usually was something like they just completely weren't. They were just like out of their mind, they're crazy, they had a rage. They, to run a red light, something mentally has to be going on that is, saying that you're not pretty much not stable, or that you were just completely sidetracked with something. And you're not going to be able to condition a person to not do that. They're just either going to do it or not. It's not, having a red light camera is not going to solve that issue. It's not going to, giving a person a $500 fine is not going to solve that issue. In fact, most of the $500 fines are because somebody was a half a second past the red, past the time that it actually clicked red when they went into the intersection. Sometimes it's like the light clicks red, and then just after it clicked red, the person entered the intersection and the red light camera flashes. It takes a picture, and the cop sits there and he looks at it in the video and he goes, oh, well, it looks like they just made it into the red. It's all right. So we'll send them a red light camera ticket. That's kind of how it works. So anyway, so tell me what you think about that. And, like it or not, go ahead and do that. And if you really want to get rid of them, start by going to your city council and let them know, hey, you don't want those. I'll talk to you in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe.